Monday Night Raw starts off with Adam Pearce in the Vision. Adam Pearce was cutting a promo basically mentioning what happened last week with the Vision taking out Seth Rollins and how he has to relinquish the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and that he needs Braun Breaker to give back the World Heavyweight Championship. You get Braun Breaker, and he's very reluctant to give the World Heavyweight Championship to Adam Pearce. And then he starts basically trying to bully Adam Pearce. He ends up telling him that he needs to beg for it and he needs to say please in order for him to give him the championship. Adam Pearce ends up agreeing to doing it. He ends up agreeing to, to Braun Breaker's commands, but this will end up eventually hurting Braun Breaker and Braun Breaker later in the show, because later in the show, he ends up removing them from the Battle Royal, because there was a Battle Royal to determine who will be the number one contender to face CM Punk at Saturday night's main event. He ends up removing Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker later in the show, and he ends up punking Paul Heyman because he ends up doing the same thing that the Vision did to him. So he ends up doing it to Paul Heyman to see if so Paul Heyman could try to get them back in the Battle Royal, but he ends up refusing to put them in the Battle Royal. I will say this, I'm very mixed on this. It was fun, it was cool, but I'm very mixed on this because I was kind of hoping that we was just going to get Braun Breaker versus CM Punk, because I want to start pushing the future, because not every young and up and coming talent needs a year or two to finally get their moment. We just saw it with Stephanie Vaquer. I don't know what it is with WWE with certain people. Like, you keep telling us Braun Breaker is the face of the company, but you want to take your time with him. I don't understand that. Where someone like Stephanie, you're just ready to shoot them to the moon. I don't understand the weird dynamic of who they want to push and who they don't. Like, it's very weird. I just kind of wish that we just get on with the Braun Breaker push, if I'm being honest. Build up some new main eventers. Don't get me wrong, I like the CM Punk, the Seth Rollins, the Romans, but it gets to a point where we have to start building for the future, and we can't always rely on these guys. I'm just going to be honest. It would just be refreshing to see new top guys at the top of the card. It would just be new and refreshing, in my opinion. But it was fun. It was fun seeing Adam Pearce get his lick back on the Vision, removing him from the Battle Royal. So I did thought that was cool, but I kind of just wish that we didn't have to do this Braun Breaker chasing after the world title. I kind of wish it was the other way around, where the babyfaces are chasing after the Vision to get the title off of him. I feel like that would be better, but it is what it is. But overall, I did enjoy this opening segment, but I kind of wish we would just have Braun Breaker in the Battle Royal and win it, but they went a different route. Afterwards, we end up getting WWE World Tag Team Championship match between the Judgment Day, AJ Styles, and Dragon Lee. This was a really fun match. Really enjoyed it. Really good match. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee won. I'm happy that they won. Glad that the Judgment Day do not have those titles, because there was no reason for them to have those titles in the first place, because you don't need the tag titles to tell this Judgment Day story. You don't. The only person that matters in the Judgment Day is Dominic Mysterio. That's all you need. That's the only person that needs to be champion. And honestly, he doesn't need to be champion, to be honest. But glad that they finally took those titles off of the Judgment Day. What does this mean for the tag team division? I don't think it means much, because they haven't shown to really care about the Raw tag team division. But who knows? Maybe with, them being baby faces, because we know how baby faces are fighting champions. So maybe they'll go with that route and have them be fighting champions. But AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, I'm cool with the decision, to be honest with you, because they're not doing anything with AJ Styles anyway. So giving him a tag team title run isn't the worst thing in the world. It could be interesting. So, plus this give Dragon Lee a little bit more TV time, give him a bit more rub. You could build him up. So I like the decision, honestly. So let's see what they do with these tag team titles. Hopefully they book them well. I don't think they will, but let's just hope. Intercontinental Championship match between Dominic Mysterio versus Rusev. I enjoyed this match. I actually like this match more than their first match. Now I will say I don't like the ending, because they went with the same ending that they did last time, where with Dominic just does a low blow, which I didn't like. Penta did get involved in this match, which I don't understand why they went with the low blow finish, because I get that you wanted to protect Rusev while also giving Dominic the win. I'm fine with that. But having Rusev lose twice to the same thing that he lost the first time, while Rusev acknowledged why he lost the first time, makes no fucking sense. What you could have just done is have Penta accidentally attack Rusev. Dominic takes advantage of that, and Dominic wins. Therefore, you're starting a Rusev and Penta feud, because that's where it's going. Because after the match, Penta attacked Rusev anyway. So it looks like we're getting a Rusev-Penta feud, but you could have just protect Rusev by Penta accidentally costing him the match. then Rusev would have more of a reason to go after Penta because he could have been like, "You cost me the match, you cost me the IC title, so now we're about to feud." Like you could have just that would have made more sense to do it because I don't think we should have went with the same ending you went with a few weeks ago. That's just me personally. You could that's just me personally. The match was good, but I would have went with a different ending because you went with the same ending you just did back. Like you just went with the same finish back to back. Like could have just done something different. But I understand why we went with it. But you could have just done with a different ending. But Dominic Mysterio is still your IC champion. I don't really know what's next for him to be honest because I don't know who he will face, especially from a heel perspective. Maybe they could have him go against Sheamus. Um, even though Sheamus is a babyface, but well, he's a heel. I meant babyface. Yeah, what other babyface he could face? Maybe he could go after Sheamus. Have Sheamus go out there again. But we all know that they're just waiting for Liv Morgan. So interesting to see how it plays out. But I am liking the way that Dominic is winning without the Judgment Day. So I hope they continue that. Afterwards, we end up getting a women's Intercontinental Championship match between Becky Lynch, Maxine Dupri. I like this. This was a really fun match. Maxine is clearly getting better in the ring. Really liked this match. Really enjoyed it. It ends up being a disqualification due to Becky Lynch using the championship to get a disqualification, which I did like. After that, she attacks Maxine Dupri. Now, one thing I will say I didn't like is that they started chanting AJ Lee when Maxine was getting attacked, which I didn't like because like, why are we chanting another woman while the babyface that you're supposed to be rooting for, like that? I don't know. I just feel like that was kind of messed up. Like you're supposed to be rooting for Maxine, but the crowd is chanting for another woman. Like really? Like come on. Like I like what they're doing here. I still don't think Maxine is the one to dethrone Becky Lynch. I think this is just a a little filler arc until we probably get back to AJ Lee. But I've been loving Becky Lynch Intercontinental Championship run. I've been loving what they've been doing with her. She's been great as IC champion, and I'm very excited to see what they do next. But afterwards, they end up showing a segment between her and Paul Heyman where she confronts Paul Heyman. She ends up grabbing him by the tie, ends up saying that her husband never trusted Paul, that her husband was only using Paul, and that Seth Rollins wasn't shocked that Paul Heyman betrayed him. He's just shocked that it took them so long, and that when he returns, he's not going to go after Paul, but he's going to go after Bronson Reed and Bromberg. It was really good. Becky Lynch looks very like I'm trying to describe it. She she came off very ruthless in that segment with Paul. She looked very ruthless. She came off great in that segment. She was really good. She very intimidating in that segment. I love what they did here. This was great. Interested to see what happens moving forward. I know they're probably not gonna have much interaction between her and Division, which should be the thing because the main story is mainly between Seth Rollins and Division. But nonetheless, that was a really great segment. Interested to see what's next with Becky Lynch. We end up getting Roxanne Perez versus Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer picks up the victory. Really good match. Afterwards, you get the Judgment Day attacks them, try to get their heat back. Nikki Bella comes out, try to even the odds, and then Nikki Bella and Stephanie ends up taking out the Judgment Day. Afterwards, though, it was a segment between Stephanie and Nikki Bella. They end up talking, and Nikki Bella basically ends up saying that she's basically going to turn heel because she ends up mentioning them being good friends and ends up saying that she wished that she had a mentor to watch her back and all of that. And then she ends up saying that since she's world champion, she's going to have a target on her back. I'm like, no shit. Like, Stephanie Vaquer already knows that. Like Stephanie Vaquer knows that. Like, of course she's going to have a target on her back. So basically what she's basically saying is that she's going to go after Stephanie, which I'm actually interested because I'm not the biggest Nikki Bella fan, and I'm not the biggest fan of her being a babyface because her being a babyface it's just something about it that just doesn't work for me. I don't know what it is, but something about it just feels so unnatural and so weird. So her being a heel should definitely help a lot. So that could be interesting. So that would be one of her opponents. And plus, they do need more heels on Raw for her to face because outside of Asuka and the Judgment Day, there's no heels for Stephanie Vaquer. So turning Nikki Bella heel for a short-term feud could be very interesting. So interested to see how that plays out. Interested to see how they would actually turn Nikki Bella heel. What will be her reasoning? What will be her motivation? So interested to see how that plays out. Now we get the main event, the Battle Royal, to see who will be the one to face CM Punk at Saturday night's main event. This match right here was very interesting because they ended up taking out Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker out of the Battle Royal. So the final people ended up being Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Dominic Mysterio, if I'm not mistaken. Throughout the match, you end up getting Jimmy Uso saving Jey Uso throughout the match, even though there was a segment before where where Jimmy was saying that he's out, he's gonna he's gonna bring it his all, and that he's even gonna go after Jey during the battle royal. But throughout the entire battle royal, he was saving Jey Uso. Towards the end, you end up getting him over where LA Knight and Jimmy Uso was hanging on the ropes, and you get Jey Uso eliminating them both. That caused some problems because Jimmy Uso was mad that Jey eliminated him. Then Jey ended up eliminating Dominic Mysterio. So at Saturday night's main event, it's going to be CM Punk versus Jey Uso. I do not like this at all because it's such a predictable outcome, and I already knew CM Punk was most likely going to win that Saturday night's main event. And putting Jey in this situation, I just don't know if that was the right call. And plus, a lot of people are mad that LA Knight didn't get the chance. Look, if LA Knight would have won, all that would have done is just have LA Knight lose to Punk. That's why I wanted Bron Breakker in this situation, because you get a chance to build a new star, build a new main eventer, build your next face of the company, because you keep saying he's the next face, but you won't push him like he's the next face. I don't understand it, but he's your next face. So the reason why I wanted Bron Breakker in this position, because I wanted something new, something refreshing, something exciting, something we haven't seen before. But no, we go with CM Punk and Jey Uso. Like, we know who's winning. We know CM Punk is winning, and then the thing I don't understand is, what is CM Punk going to do as world champ? Because I don't know what you do with CM Punk as world champion on Raw, because he doesn't have nobody. The only person you could possibly do is maybe Jey Uso and LA Knight, but that's a babyface dynamic. So, yeah, I get it. They don't like CM Punk, but it's still a babyface dynamic. So even still, it's like you're putting yourself in a corner in that situation. At least with Bron Breakker being champion, you know that the baby faces have to go against Bron Breakker, and at least they have to cheer against Braun. I don't know. I just feel like it just would have been better to have Bron Breakker just win at Saturday Night's main event, make him become champion, give him that stamp of approval. Like, look, we're putting our entire, trust into you as our next guy. We're gonna just pull the trigger, because not every top guy or every up and coming guy needs 2 to 3 years for you to pull the trigger. Sometimes with wrestlers, they're ready for the moment. Sometimes you could just immediately put them in the main event. Not every fucking wrestler has that wait 2 years or 3 years to finally get that moment. Sometimes you could just pull the trigger. But overall, Monday Night Raw was great. I wish, Bron Breakker would have been the one to, get pushed against CM Punk in the Saturday Night's main event, but I'm not mad at it. But overall, tonight's show was great. You guys let me know your overall thoughts and opinions below. Make sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, that's it.